We have a team and we're all a family. At the resort, everybody wants to be there. Everybody loves working there. We need people that buy into our culture, which is very important to us. So, we have our core values that we live and breathe by.
You have been able to pack so much value into staying at the resort. When I go to different places, they charge for valet and then obviously breakfast or waters. You include all of that. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Moments That Matter podcast, the podcast where we take a deep dive into the pivotal moments that have shaped today's leaders and their journeys. Today, I am joined by Katja Kunz. Katja, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you being on the show. For those who aren't familiar with you, what you do at Pink Shell, could you give them an overview?
Sure. I am the revenue and marketing director for a Boykin management company, and we currently have the Pink Shell Beach Resort and Marina in beautiful Fort Myers Beach, Florida, in our portfolio. And I have been with them for almost 19 years. I started as a front desk supervisor at the property and quickly moved into sales and all of a sudden, I ended up in revenue. And since revenue and marketing is so closely related in addition to sales, I took on the responsibility of marketing a few years ago as well.
Interesting. So was this your very first job?
No, you're flattering me. No, before I came to the Pink Shell, I actually worked at South Seas Island Resort, which is on Captiva in Florida, and I was a assistant front office director at the property there. And I'm also a certified travel agent. I was born and raised in Germany, so after high school, I decided not to go to college. So I became a apprentice in a travel agency, and after that, I decided now it was time to go to university. So I pursued my master's degree in hotel and tourism management, which I went to university in Germany, in England, and in Florida, and that's how I kind of ended up actually in Florida.
Oh, so you finished school in Florida and then immediately went into a resort nearby?
Yes. So, and then back in the day, when you finish with a degree in the US, you were given a OPT visa, which is an optional practical training. So you could work and, experience life in the US for a year. So that's what I did. I went to interview for different hotels, even though I never wanted to work in a hotel. I always wanted to work at a visitor or and convention office or a DMO. But I had some connections through the university at hotels, so that's where I ended up.
So when you didn't go to college initially and you were working as a travel agent,
Yes.
what made you seek out hotel management as a degree?
I've always been involved in hospitality. My first job in high school was working at a restaurant or at a coffee shop, really. We call it the manager of the ice cream stand. It was an ice cream stand connected to a coffee shop, and just working with people and just being around happy people really was something that I really thought was, worth doing. So after I decided, it's like, well, a travel agent has kind of to do with that. You're in an office and you help people plan vacations, but it wasn't something that I could see myself doing for the rest of my life. So I figured, well, I might as well stay in hospitality and become something within the industry. And I felt like I needed a degree to get somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you an only child? Are you one
No,
of many?
I have a brother. I have an older brother, and him and his family, they still live in Germany.
Mm.
So
Oh, fantastic. Do you go back often?
I tried to. I was there twice this year, actually. So that was very nice. Once with my kids, and once just with my oldest son to travel around, not only Germany, but we actually traveled to Paris and London. So it was really amazing to experience that, through the eyes also of a 13-year-old teenager.
Oh, absolutely. Showing him the different spots. Uh,
Yes, sure.
Fantastic. What so after you originally got the job, have you always been in revenue management? Was there any other roles that you tried out in the hotel that made you really move into revenue, or you just said, I definitely don't want to do that?
Started in at the front office. I think almost everybody in the hotel industry at some point starts at the front desk. I really enjoyed working at the front desk. I worked at a resort on Captiva right before Hurricane Charlie hit in 2004. So that was my first experience with a hurricane, and the resort had to close down, and I had to, then work as a waitress at a steakhouse. But I did go back to South Seas after it was opening back up. Um, so it was always the front office I was kind of drawn to because I really always enjoyed managing a team. I really enjoyed meeting and speaking with customers and giving them great experiences and making memories for them. But one day my boss said to me, "How would you feel about being the revenue director?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know. I never even thought about it. What does he actually do?" And I was like, and then I said, "Wait a minute, where is he going? Why are you talking to me about this?" And so it happened that our revenue director decided to leave the company, and I talked to my boss about it, and I just thought it was a really good opportunity to get back into managing a team because at that point I was a sales manager, and as a revenue director, I was overlooking the reservations office, and I had missed the interaction of actually having a team to be responsible for. So that was one of the biggest reasons for me to move actually into revenue and reservations management at that time.
So from that point to now, you've oversaw revenue for large companies.
Yeah, so I've been, I was at my first hotel job at the front office, went to the Pink Shell, worked there alongside my boss, who I've now worked with for over 20 years. Um, at a previous company and now at the resort. And after, several years, when I got promoted to corporate revenue director, I moved up to North Carolina and work out of the corporate office. So we used to have several resorts that we oversaw. But again, we had another hurricane, Hurricane Ian in 2022, which completely destroyed one property and damaged another. So they're not open. So we currently just have the Pink Shell, which I don't want to say just because it's a beautiful property and it keeps us very busy.
Absolutely. So you've really had like a triple whammy here. So you're overseeing properties, they're in Florida, and the pandemic hits. And I think Florida
Mhm.
was, really good about just keeping places generally open. But even then there was still some lockdowns. So you weather the storm that was COVID. You basically start to come back out of it, and then you get hit by Hurricane Ian.
Yeah, yes. So we were lucky really in Florida, to say with the pandemic, so everybody wanting to come to Florida because it was open and because it was the beaches and wide open spaces. And that's what people were obviously craving during the pandemic.
Right.
So we had a really great pandemic years, probably the best years that the resort has had and that Florida in general has had up until September 28th, 2022, when Hurricane Ian, brought a 17-foot storm surge onto the beach and basically destroyed, all of our bottom floor amenities, as well as, the holes in the roofs that destroyed most of the rooms. So we were closed for quite a while after the hurricane. And, we housed FEMA residents, so we were open fairly quickly in some ways. Of course, no amenities, no elevators, no conveniences, but we had rooms available for people to stay in while they had nowhere to stay. So we housed them for about 4 or 5 months, and then we started slowly, getting open and being able to house some more guests because we have a really, really strong, loyal guests, or a group of loyal guests that love coming to the resort over and over. And we saw it as with a GoFundMe that we started for all of our employees after the hurricane, of how many people were willing to donate to the employees, which was it was really nice to see that, it mattered. And, just coming back through the storm and slowly starting to open, we had a lot of guests that would come and stay with us, even though we didn't have a pool or we didn't have elevators or we only had one pool at some point. And, but they were just coming to support us, to support the area. And, they made memories with us, even through a hardship of our entire region. So.
Yeah, I can't even imagine what that must have thrust you all into, the staff, having to, yeah, I mean, it's so atypical, right? The pandemic, then a hurricane, and then another one, right? Thereafter. So you
Yes, last year.
last year,
Yeah,
two, right? Like back to
two
back.
last year back to back. Yeah, it's been, we keep saying, I think we deserve a break
Yeah.
from all
Paid
this.
your dues.
And so far, so good this year. Um, but, throughout the pandemic, or throughout the hurricanes and all these trying times. I mean, I've been with the company so long. We had the BP oil spill that we had to go through, red tide. There is so many other disasters that we have come through and out of. And the great thing is every time we've come out of it better than before. Throughout the Hurricane Ian, of course, we had to lay off a lot of people, but we didn't really lay them off. It was more of a, don't worry, we're going to be back and you're going to come back. And almost everybody did come back eventually. And a huge team of us, was still employed even through the closure and through, the rebuild. And everybody was a really huge part of this rebuild. And it's just been amazing to see because, the Florida tourism is not that great this year. I mean, it's hard to beat the COVID years, so we're naturally down for that. It's a difficult economy. People book so last minute right now, so it's a little bit a struggle for everyone. But the resort itself, I mean, we're doing great, and we've worked really, really hard to get to this point. And it shows the resilience of our staff and the the fan base that we have as a resort, and it really does make a difference. So
Yeah, I mean, during those moments of adversity, it seems like you just have such a positive attitude, and you're hit with so much adversity. How do you lead a team and stay positive when so much has happened throughout the last couple of years? How do you get up and instill that type of positivity to them?
well, because we have a team and we're all a family at the resort. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody loves working there. So, and we want to keep them, right? So we want to make sure just because we're going through hard times, we don't want to lose you to another place because we can't replace you. And, we need people that buy into our culture, which is very important to us. So, we have our core values that we live and breathe by. And all of our employees that are working at the resort right now are exactly what makes our place so great. So we want to make sure that we keep them. And, yes, we might go through hard times. And now we're in slow season. And yes, we might cut some hours here and there. But, it's just making sure that the employees know that they're valued and that they're important and that they have a say in everything that happens at the resort, and they know what our goals are. Like this year our goal is 15,000 memorable stays, so everybody knows, okay, want to create a memory for every person that stays at the resort. And we do that through so many ways. And I listened to the podcast with Sar from Wonderland, and it was so interesting his view of, how kids see the resort or a restaurant or wherever they go to. And it made me feel so good to know that so many things that he's suggesting or that he's seen that's like, we're doing that. The whole
Right.
time I was listening to the podcast, I was like, yes, like, we're doing this, and we're really, not only trying to do that for the guests, right? Make memories, but also for employees.
Yeah, I from a revenue standpoint, I don't know how much sense this makes, but from a guest standpoint, you have been able to pack so much value into staying at the resort. So when I go to different places, they charge for valet, and then obviously breakfast or waters. You include all of that: a beach bag,
Hmm.
stand-up paddle, chairs and umbrellas, kayaks, bicycles. What's the thought process behind not nickel and diming, but just saying we're going to provide a fantastic experience. We're going to, in our resort fee, this is all just included.
Yeah, actually, you know what? It all stems from guest feedback. It started with, we sent out the surveys, and the biggest complaint was, oh, we have to pay for the chairs and umbrellas on the beach. Okay,
Mhm.
well, how can we get rid of that biggest guest complaint? Because we did have an outside vendor that we're working with. So it took a while to shuffle around and change the contracts around. And it's like, okay, well, now we buy our own and they're included. Then the next thing was, we're always looking, what is the next guest complaint that people really, really want that we can provide to them. So one of them was, to have breakfast included. Another one was, the bicycles, like provide bicycles on the island. And it's like, okay, well, there's bike rentals, but why can't we have it on property so guests can just utilize it whenever they want to? And it's been like a biggest one was like, you don't have a hot tub. Well, guess what? Now we have two. After the hurricane, we had to rebuild our pool deck, so now we have two hot tubs. Hot tubs. We're always trying to see what guests really are looking for. Um, and providing it to them because we know that they will come back if they feel like they're part of our family, they're part of, um, the decision making basically of, what the resort offers. And we want them to make memories as a family. We want them to celebrate their special moments at the resort. We have, weddings that we do a lot at the resort. It's just that it becomes this kind of multi-generational vacation that everybody wants to, you know, be part of because they know that they're going to have such a great time.
Yeah, I mean that line of thinking is so amazing that someone could put in a complaint nicely, say, "Hey, I don't like this," and then there are people like you that are hearing that and creating programs or systems and canceling contracts and getting them what they want to make them happy. It's incredible.
Mhm. We
Has
do it the same with employees, right? We have a brownies with Bill. Bill is our president, and it's like, okay, once a month, come over, we'll have brownies, and you tell me what you think could be changed, either for the guests or for the employees. So,
is Bill the one that you've been with for 20 years? Any other?
yes, yeah,
Have you stayed for the free brownies?
yes,
Oh, that's
definitely.
amazing. Um, how do you think he contributes to the family feeling that I mean that sounds like something that people want to stick around. They want to be around someone that's
Yeah.
listening.
I mean, I have to say, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people like their boss, a lot of people hate their boss. I mean, our boss is amazing. So, like the biggest example I guess I can give is after Hurricane Charlie, after Hurricane Ian, when we had some people stay at the resort because they didn't have anywhere else to be. They either lived in a trailer or in a low-lying flood level where it was safer for them to be at the resort. But it was traumatizing, right? I mean, everything was destroyed around them. I mean, the water came up into the lobby. So it was different. But and then the whole island was shut down for days. But Bill, our boss, I mean, he got them out of there. He got his four-wheel, he got his truck and he trekked down and he shoved things out of the way to get to the resort to get our employees out of there. And that is just one example. It's like always, if somebody needs something personally, he's just there for them and helps wherever he can, even though it has nothing to do with work. So he's just a good person all around that really cares about his employees and wants to make sure that he knows that, or we know that he really values everyone. So
Incredible. Thank you for sharing
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Just switching gears to kind of what you see as a revenue manager. You and I were introduced 2 high techs ago, I believe, by the
Yes.
fantastic Catherine Poeta from Miles Partnership. And, we really hit it off right away. I loved what you all were doing. I just think it's fantastic and the adversity that you've been able to overcome at this one resort even has just been incredible. But Miles assists maybe in new technology, things like that. What else are you seeing out there? What are you kind of demanding or thinking about, conversations that you all are having at the revenue management kind of position? That what's next? What are you looking for now? Where do you have your eyes set next?
I mean, revenue management, I think right now is really difficult because, especially in a hurricane-stricken area where the perception is still that we are not back or the area isn't back, it's like the crystal ball is broken. We don't really know what to forecast or what to budget, or everything kind of hasn't come in the way in the last few years than it used to. There is no real pattern. So for us, of course, it's this year, for example, our strategy is occupancy. We want to you know concentrate on occupancy and not on rate, just to make sure that the outlets stay busy, that the island stays busy, that we can contribute to at the island as a whole, because of course our guests go out and eat other places, but also to make sure that everybody is busy and can keep their hours, right? So that was one decision that we made. And then going forward, of course, all the talk is about AI and how to integrate it into more ways of what we can do. Um, when we met, I had been saying to Miles, I really want something where we can show videos on our website. There has to be something kind of like a Instagram or but on our website. And it's like I was like, no, no. And then all of a sudden, right before high tech, and then when we met, and that was like a moment for me where I was like, yes, finally, this is something that we can use. I think it's going to enhance our website so amazingly. And I think we're always kind of on a search for something new and different that maybe not everybody has, that we can integrate into our website or our marketing. The way we display, advertising around the resort to get people to gently remind them that, oh yeah, you can rent a day bed, by the way. It's just so to see all the things that we have to offer. And revenue management is really, sales, marketing, reservations, it's all in one. So it's really, for us, it's always been super important for all those departments to work closely together, where a few years ago, we made the decision that I was just going to oversee those so we can make sure that everybody knows what's going on, because we don't want to make a decision as a marketing team saying we're going to, offer 20% off discount, and then the reservations doesn't know. And, the group sales department's never heard of it. So it's just everybody being aligned together is always on the top of our mind.
I have to say, I'm completely blown away hearing that your goal is community centric, not pink shell, not Boykin, not profitability, ADR, but that you want to have occupancy up so that foot traffic is up and people are moving and that they spend money off-site. I know, of course, you want them to spend money for
Sure.
your places, but that you're thinking about that because next year's clients, you want them to come and every business not be out of business. You want them to be able to actually contribute to the local community. I can't tell you how amazing it is to hear something like that.
I mean, it is so important when we look at, what we can do for the community. The resort is one of the very few Turtle Conservancy certified resorts. We take our turtles very serious, our turtle season, and there is a lot of changes that had to be made at the resort in order to comply with that. But it also, um, brings guests to the resort because they like that we are very nature oriented and that we are, we try to get involved in anything local that we can. We are very involved with Captains for Clean Water, which is an organization that fights to keep, the water clean in Florida, which is the most important asset, really, the clean beaches of every beach resort. So, um, not only do we do a constant contribution to them, we are also starting in September this $1 a night donation for where the guests can opt in to just it's just $1 a night for every night of their stay to donate directly to Captains for Clean Water. That's just one of our core values is it's just called socially responsible. So, we want to be responsible in our community and we want to, there's so many good, great causes out there, but we had to pick some. So, we basically came up with, okay, we want to protect our local environment. We want to be mentors to our profession and we want to support the military because that was really important to the owners of the resort. And so everything we do, we kind of try to incorporate. So, caring for a local environment, of course, includes the turtles, it includes the clean waters, but it includes everybody else that lives in the area. None of the other hotels opened up for FEMA residents, on the beach. So, but like we felt it was important for people, especially that were devastated living on the beach, that they had somewhere to go, at least for a few months until things could get figured out.
Yeah. When something comes through like that and you're living in the moment, you go through a hurricane, and just talking about the environment, how long would you say it takes and what are the efforts from hurricane comes through, it's pulling out, there must be debris, the beaches, just a mess. What's that process like for people who've never gone through something like that to get a resort and the beach back open?
Yeah. I mean, there is so many different tasks at play that it's hard to say. I mean, I guess it'll be a little bit easier to use a smaller hurricane as an example, because Hurricane Ian, which just did so much damage to everything. But every hurricane does something. Last year we had two come through, one at the end of September, one in October. And the first thing that happens, it fills everybody's pools with sand, right? So it's you got to pump out the water, you got to pump out the sand, you got to scrub the pools clean again. Then you got to have some trucks come in to fill the pool just to get it open. And that process alone is, could be a week or two. I mean, we have it down to a science at this point where we can turn a pool around within a couple of days if that happens. Um, the After big hurricanes, of course, there is, from the city and the town, they'll have cleanup crews coming up and raking the beach. We do rake our beach in the front of the resort as well. And of course, we do cleanups. We do, two cleanups a year anyway, sometimes more on the beach where we invite guests to join us, right? So, because they're a part of everything that we do. And this every 10 years, I believe, there is money in the city's budget or from the tourism development tax, really, or from the tourist income tax that the beach gets renourished. So that was just completed last year. So what they did was they put this huge barge out into the Gulf and a huge long pipe that pumps fresh sand in onto the beach, and then you have, four-wheelers spreading it on the beach, and all of a sudden you go from a 50-foot beach to a 300-foot beach. So it's a process, and of course that's only done every 10 years or so, but it's important to protect the island. And because some of the hurricanes take away a lot of that sand, it just washes out, and all of a sudden you're left with less beach and less protection for your assets on the beach.
I think I actually saw that happening on one of the live cameras last year.
Oh, probably, yes,
I think
when
I
they were
tuned
right in
in
front of the
and I was
resort.
like, what
It's
is
very
it?
interesting to watch.
It was. um, and I mean, my gosh, I can't even imagine, because you said 17, 16, 17-foot storm surges, right?
Hmm.
And when that recedes are just the most random things, right? Being left right on the beaches
Yes. I mean, there was,
from
you
the
know,
cities.
yeah, the pile of rubbles after Hurricane Ian were probably 30 feet high along both sides of the road on the beach. Because, it was not only furniture or, pieces of houses that were washing up. It was also boats and roofs, and I mean our entire marina lifted up over the poles and swam somewhere. So I mean that landed somewhere. Then it had to be cleaned up as somewhere in the bay. So it was a good year and a half process to get everything put back together, which there is still a lot of places on the island that, nothing has happened yet because they're waiting on insurance money, whatever the case may be. But it's just the debris after a hurricane is insane.
Yeah. So you went to hotel management school, but you've probably had a whole education on hurricane preparedness and recovery.
Yes. Yep. And every hurricane, you learn something new. So we have a hurricane plan, obviously. So it's like, oh, you know what? This hurricane plan, this didn't go was so great, or maybe this could have gone better, or this company wasn't responsive afterwards. We got to make some changes. So it's really an ever evolving document, right? That is getting more robust, really, every year that we have a hurricane. So,
Gosh, well, I hope during this year's hurricane season it misses you completely.
yes, we hope so too.
In your own personal travels, where have been some of the most memorable, beautiful places that you visited?
I think the most memorable vacation that we have had was when, before kids, my husband and I went to South Africa. We went to Johannesburg and to Cape Town, and it was just, I don't know, such a different world, starting with the safari with the different animals, of course, to, experiencing, not so great parts of Johannesburg. And, then beautiful Cape Town with the Table Mountain and the vineyards and the suburbs. I mean, it was just an amazing, different world that I thought was really nice and would definitely go back to. But other than that, I decided actually this year, because I always thought, I'm like, what is my favorite country or favorite place to go? And of course, I'm from Germany, so we traveled a lot in Europe. And I think England is my favorite country. It's just, I love London, studied there. Visited there. There is so much to do. I love the vibe, everything about it. And the countryside, like Bath. My son and I just went to Bath for a few days, and it was just amazing. Everything is just so pretty. The little gardens, the little cafes, and it's just been really a fun trip, and I really want to go back to explore more of England. But with kids, we um, actually went on a long weekend. Every Memorial Day weekend, we try to go somewhere we can drive. So living in North Carolina, we've been now to South Carolina, Tennessee, of course, Georgia, Virginia, West Virginia, and Alabama, and Kentucky. And Louisville, Kentucky was probably our favorite trip.
Really?
Yes. I mean, there was things to do for the kids with the Slugger Museum and the horse races, and um, there was
Did you
great
go
things to
to the
do.
Kentucky Derby?
No, it was after the Kentucky Derby, but they always have the races there anyway. So they have it going on every day. And we went on the Bourbon Trail for a little bit, and they even allowed kids and dogs on the tour. So that was a really amazing trip within the US
I gotta say,
that I never thought that I would enjoy.
me too, but it makes sense. I
Yeah,
hadn't considered the Slugger Museum as well. Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot to do there. Where did you stay?
at an Airbnb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick follow-up question on the South Africa trip. How long did you commute by car from the city out to the like the wildlife safari?
Yes.
How long of a drive was it from being in the city center craziness to where it is totally remote?
Um, it was from Johannesburg out into I want to say it was probably just a couple hours. I don't remember it being super long. Um, so it was, how sometimes it's crazy. You're in this big city and then you're with the, zebras the next a few hours later. I felt the same though, I have to say, when we were just in Seattle, and Seattle is such a huge town or city. But then you drive an hour and a half and you're in Mount Rainier, and I mean, yeah, it's peaceful and quiet, at least outside the summer months, I guess. So,
Just that changes. Same thing with
yeah.
Portland and Mount Hood. You're almost at Mount Hood, you literally go through the clouds. And so you can be above the clouds and you feel like you're in a different world.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, there's so many places, in this country or in any other country, really, that are worth seeing. We've really kind of gotten the travel bug a bit this year, so we've done a lot of trips. It just happened, to work out like this. So this was our year of travel. And, we're always like, ooh, when is our next trip? Where can we go next? And it's just great, experiences with your kids, especially. I have two boys and they're 5 years apart, so they're not that close. But when it's just us on vacation with them, I mean, it's just them, so they're gonna kind of have to get along and do things together, which is it's a really nice change of pace.
Oh,
And
yeah.
maybe that's also why I joined this industry, just because it's exciting, right? Traveling is exciting, making memories is exciting, and experiencing all those little moments that happen on vacation can't happen at home.
Absolutely. That literally, so every video we deliver for clients, we call a moment. So those are actually called moments, not videos, because you're having a moment with an individual right there who's looking. But it's all about the moments. That's why the podcast is named this as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Appreciate you saying that.
Love
How old
that.
is your youngest? Is your youngest a
He's
13?
9. Yeah.
Yeah. So then listening to the episode with Sar, then it was resonating with you, all of the things.
Yes, definitely. I remember the first time that we took my oldest now, he was maybe 4 or 5 then, to a hotel in Clearwater Beach. And at check-in, they gave him a Matchbox car. I mean, what is that, $1? And he was ecstatic about this Matchbox car. And I never forgot about that because it made such an impact, right? On him, on
Yeah.
me. So, right away I went back to the resort. It's like, we have to give something a check-in.
Yeah.
So,
We took the kids up to Camelback in the Poconos, and upon check-in, I don't know if they do this for everyone, but they gave the kids a stuffed animal, and they were different colors, and it was their favorite colors. And then couldn't have been more than maybe $25, but loaded a card for the arcade. And now, so it's like, current situation is I just got a stuffed animal. Plus, I have something I know is going to be super awesome for later. The anticipation and excitement around that, they've just begged to go back all the time now. I mean, they
I'm
think
sure.
you're going to get free stuff all the time, but I don't know if that's the case. But it's so memorable for them. They still have it. It's incredible when people go, when resorts, hotels, just even at the highest ownership level, buy into that and say, we're making memories.
Yes. And that is our overall, you can ask anybody of our 200 plus employees, what is your job? Their answer will always be, is to make memories, because that's what we're there to do. I mean, our housekeepers make towel animals like the cruise ships do. But what a difference does that make when someone actually, checks in and they have an elephant on their bed? It's just, so everybody can create a memory, even if you're not guest facing and you're in the back of the house. There's always an opportunity. And, we give out shell bags at check-in because, people like to shell. We have a shell washing station. So the shell bag has a picture of all the different shells that you can find. So then you can see what you got. And it's exciting for the kids to go, ooh, I got this bag and has all the pretty shells. Now I'm going to go and try and find each one of those. So it's just a little memory and a little easy something for everybody to get involved. We have a naturalist on staff who does nature tours and kayak tours. He has a little hut where he displays all kinds of wildlife and different shells and things that are on the beach just to educate the kids. And they love that stuff. My 9-year-old is completely infatuated with them. So
you are truly, I mean, you've set it up in the best possible way. I really admire all of the work you're doing. And if anyone's listening, looking for a family vacation, check out the Pink Shell Beach Resort and Marina in Fort Myers. Fantastic place. You're doing some incredible work there.
Thank you.
Well, last thing I would have is advice. So we always say, if anybody out there, younger audience who wants to get into hotel management, revenue operations, what would be one piece of advice that you've taken with you from your career that you would give to a younger person?
Definitely when I started out and I had a master's degree and I thought I was going to be, a revenue director, basically, right off the bat. Well, obviously I wasn't. And I guess my advice would be just take whatever job you can get. If you want to go to work in a hotel, go work at the front desk. It is a great way to start a career. Doesn't mean you're going to be stuck at the front desk forever. I moved up so quickly, and then I moved to sales, and then I moved to revenue and marketing. It's, just be open to the opportunities that present themselves. And don't be afraid to speak up. I mean, I always spoke my mind, and it's actually probably one thing my bosses like most and least about me. But I'm always truthful. Just be truthful to yourself, knowing what you want out of your career, and it's fine if you don't. It'll come to you. And truthful to your peers and everyone around you, just so you put yourself out there and make the decisions that are good for yourself and for your company.
Fantastic.
So.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that. We'd like to send a special thank you again to Katja Kunz from Pink Shell Resort, Boykin Management. And thank you for listening in to the Moments That Matter podcast. As always, if you'd like to stay informed, hit that like button or subscribe so you get an alert on the most up-to-date episodes. Thanks so much, Katja.
Oh, thank you, Jason.